All right, so today, this is what we'll be doing, welcome and objective. So welcome everybody, it's good to have you. We are actually going to define the word resolution and talk about what it means and what it means to us and how we can make them and all that good stuff. And then we're going to really do a lot of reflection on your current habits and why you're making resolutions, if you've made them already, or what that actually means. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of homework on values. And if you've already done some value work, that's great. But during this session, I really want you to do a lot of reflecting. And so if you have a chance to grab a piece of paper and a pen, that would be great. So you can just do some reflecting on it. Otherwise, I'll be sending out some of these questions that I'm going to give to you. And so you'll have the questions that I'll be asking you to reflect on as we move forward. And then over the next 6 weeks, we're really going to explore the question, what does living my best life mean? What does that mean? Are you living your best life as it relates to all your habits in this moment and kind of moving forward? So really reflecting on that. So let's move right along. So let's define resolution. So resolution is actually a noun, and it's a noun because it's a decision. It's a firm decision to what you want to do or not to do something. So it can be a habit, something that you're currently doing. Maybe you've set some resolutions last year and they went really well and they became a habit. And eventually the ultimate goal is the resolutions that you set really become a way of life. Especially as we think about, okay, it's a new year, I want to set some goals. Ultimate goal is that those goals become things that you do. So we'll be talking through that. And then why do we set New Year's resolutions, and why in the new year? I know some people will kind of restart resolutions or make goals all through the year, but New Year's tends to be a time where it is just a good time. A good time to set them. It's a good time to start over. When you get a shiny new calendar, you open it up and there's January 1st. And so, you get a new calendar, we get a new start. It's just fresh, and it's just a good time to start over. So that's why usually New Year, we set these goals and these resolutions. So we also have to talk about the 6-week slump. So, when you get that new calendar and it's a new year, you're all excited and you're like, yeah, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You might set one resolution, maybe 6 or 7 or 8, or you might hope to change your whole life around. Well, we know that there is a 6-week slump. And so research shows that resolutions last between 1 day and 6 weeks right after New Year's Eve. And, that's really something to think about. As we reflect on what our goals are and what resolutions we're setting and why. So now it's chat time. You can put your responses in the chat, or you can just kind of reflect on this. So why do you think resolutions dwindle within the first 6 weeks? What are your thoughts on that? If you want to say something or write in the chat, feel free. And if you've set some New Year's resolutions in the past and they've only lasted, a couple days, why do you think that is? Just going to look at this. We have one person that said, I think we try to make too many drastic changes and they're not easy to keep. Yep, exactly. That is very so true. The New Year's resolutions that we set are no longer shiny and new. Yeah, they sound really good at first, and then they're not so exciting anymore. Lack of time, yep. Too broad of goals, and it takes a minimum of 6 weeks to make something a habit. Good, excellent. So you've all basically hit the nail on the head with all of those things. So that's really good. And then another one is can get discouraged if we don't see practice. Yeah. So wonderful. Great chat. And so when we're thinking about all these things, we, through the next 6 weeks, we'll kind of really delve into what those goals mean and how to make them realistic and how to make them stick and what that individually means to all of us. Next. Okay, so some of the most common resolutions are, and maybe you've made a few of these as well, lose weight, exercise, either to start an exercise program or do more exercise. Another one, the next one is quit smoking, eating healthy, and then stress less. And there could be 100 more different resolutions depending on the person. But those tend to be the most common resolutions. So kind of thinking about your resolutions, let's just kind of start reflecting on what is at least one resolution that you've made this year for yourself as we continue. So really how to get resolutions to stick. Well, we really want to create new habits, and how easy is it to create new habits? And so even in the chat, this was also mentioned, like we things are just so shiny and new. We want to make a whole bunch of changes, drastic changes from what we're doing now to what we used to do, and just kind of think about and reflect on what when you made a goal or resolution in the past, what really worked for you and what didn't, and what's working for you now and what isn't. Creating new habits is really tough. It is really tough. It's a whole lifestyle tweaks, and it's behavior change, and it's just really thinking about what can really work for you and what can't. So why is creating new habits so hard? It takes a lot of time and energy to figure this out. Change can be really, really hard to do. And then our current habits are our habits. And so this is where we really want to look at getting these resolutions to stick. So thinking about something that you do a lot right now, and, it could be anything. So I know one of my current habits is that, as soon as I come home, I'm, or get done with work, I'm pretty exhausted, and I think, how can I get more energy? And so one of my habits that I had over time is I'm going to go for a walk just to get more energy for the rest of my day. And that became a habit because I was so fatigued and so tired, and I knew exercising and getting out for even a 5-10 minute walk gave me energy to be able to kind of complete the rest of my day. So I had a reason behind it. It was nice to get outside and just get some fresh air and do something. So that is actually a good habit, and it's kind of happened over time because I felt the difference between when I didn't go and then when I did go. And so you can think of that, those changes and those habits that you currently do. It's so very important to think of those things that you currently do, because that will kind of pave the way to think about changing habits for your future. So if you make a New Year's resolution of, well, I'd really like to go for a walk every day, you can kind of look at those old goals or those old changes in your habits and say, this worked for me because I was really motivated to do it. I knew I wanted to have more energy for the rest of my night, and it gave me some time to get some vitamin N for nature. I got outside, got a different perspective of the day by going for a walk and just changing my environment. So when I'm making my New Year's resolutions or my next goal, I can use that same strategy of, why are my current habits my habits? And it didn't happen overnight that I would go outside for a walk. It happened, I started out doing that for a week, and then I fell off the wagon for a few days. And then I was like, I'm so tired. I just want to go to bed at 7 p.m. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's why, is because I didn't go for my walk. So then you can always make those little tweaks and have that awareness of, okay, so that's the difference. And so if I do this, even if it's for 5 minutes, I'll have more energy. So that's, and we can even think about this as not so good habits in our life. Like, how did that become a habit of mine, doing this all the time? How did that happen over time? All of our habits didn't happen overnight. It happened over time because something became just natural or normal or easy, and then that's our habit. So we'll continue to kind of reflect on this and think about these things. So it's really time to become a student, apprentice of your own self. So many times we think of, I don't have the answer. I don't know. Somebody else knows the answer. Somebody needs to tell me what I need to do. And oftentimes we will look at experts and we'll watch a video, or we'll read a book, or we'll see the new trend diet, like a keto diet, or okay, this is what they say, and I got to follow this to a T, and this is going to work for me because somebody else is telling me what to do. So we try it, and some parts of it might work for us, or it might not work for us at all. So really, when you try something, this is where we become our own teacher, and we become a student of ourselves as that teacher within us, to be able to figure out what is working and what isn't. So no matter what somebody else says, tells you what to do, even if they're an expert, you want to take that and say, how is this going to work for me? And to reflect on it as you're going along. So if you want to try the keto diet, or paleo, or whatever it is, some of those things might work for you, but you're always taking in this information of, okay, this is working for me in this way, it's not working for me in this way, so how can I really tweak it and make it work for what I need? So that's part of your reflection for this week. And awareness is the key. Only you know what you feel and what you're thinking. And so just becoming more aware of how you're feeling and in that moment, in anything, awareness is key. And I can't reiterate this enough. Oftentimes we tend to just kind of keep going and not even taking the time to say, okay, what's going on? How am I feeling? How can I move forward with this or not? We just kind of keep pushing through, not even paying attention to maybe our stress level, or if we're hungry or full, or any of those feelings. We just kind of like push them away or try to numb them. But we really want to be able to bring how we're feeling and be able to take care of ourselves in the right way, as it relates to these goal setting, the resolutions that we make, what's working for us and what isn't. So awareness. And so I hope when I was talking about me, going for even a couple-minute walk afterwards as kind of a current habit that I have, what is a habit that maybe you have right now that you don't really like? And that's kind of maybe a reason why you're thinking about setting New Year's resolutions, or why you've set New Year's resolutions. If you have a piece of paper, just kind of jot that down. One habit that you don't really like, that I just need to change this about about myself, or about the situation, about this habit. Go ahead and write that down. Okay. And then as this is, this isn't just going to be, we're only on here for the next 15 minutes. This might take a little bit longer than that. So you're becoming a student of your own self. So this is the next question. How did this habit form over time? What happened when you first started doing this? I know sometimes I'll come home and I'm just so hungry because I didn't prepare my snack for mid-afternoon, that mid-afternoon slump, and I get home and I'm just, oh my gosh, where are those cookies that I hid, that I didn't want to see? And when I'm not when I'm not so starving, I don't even think about them, but get home and I'll eat a bunch of cookies. So that habit may have formed because I stopped bringing that healthy snack to work with me. And so then when I got home, I was so hungry. So when did I stop bringing that healthy snack to work with me? And then, oh, I stopped bringing that healthy snack because of this. And that really kind of sent me into the spiral of every day when I get home, I'm looking for those cookies and I'm eating them. And so kind of thinking in terms of when or how did this habit form? What was going on at that time? You know, did it become kind of a daily thing? And so that's something to reflect on. And the next question is, how is this habit serving you? Like when I got home and started eating those cookies, it served me by kind of quenching my my hunger, and so it was all good. You know, I wasn't as hungry, so I could wait for dinner. Is that serving me in the present? No, like I'm not feeling that good. I'm not getting the nutrients that I need. And, you know, that habit has, you know, because I'm doing that every day, I've now gained some weight and I can really feel it in my body. And so it's not serving me right now. Or maybe it still is. Maybe I'm like, yep, I'm not as hungry, so that I can wait for dinner and I'm good to go. So kind of thinking about that current habit that you don't really like. How is it serving you? Oftentimes we don't take the time to even think about these things or ask ourselves these questions. And it's these questions will really help you to be able to make goals in the future to be able to serve you in the best way so you'll be able to keep them. Okay, and then the next question is, what do you like about this habit? I mean, there's something you like about this habit, otherwise you wouldn't be doing this. And I look at, I worked a lot with smokers to help them stop smoking and to really become aware of the reasons why they're smoking. And 9 out of 10 smokers will say, I love to smoke. It makes me relax, and it's just, you know, I like the flavor, you know, whatever it is that I just love to smoke, and I just don't want to quit because I love it. And on the flip side, they do want to quit, and so there's a lot of psychological impact that goes along with it. So just kind of reflect on that. What is that current habit that you have? Maybe you wrote it down that you really like about it. You know, I like eating cookies. So when I get home, you know, having that you know, 2 of them each day, just, I can kind of feel that dopamine rise, the serotonin, you know, I kind of get happy in that moment. Now, what do you like about it? And then the next one is, what don't you like about the habit? You reflect on that. Like with a smoker, you know, I know it's not good for me. My clothes smell. I'm worried about getting lung cancer or mouth cancer. And so I don't like that about it. And so, so just writing it down, having it in the forefront can really help not only make future goals, but also kind of looking at what is working for you and what isn't. So what don't you like about that habit? And then the last question is, does this habit align with your value or your values? And we'll talk a little bit about values, but and value work is so very important because it can really help you align your goals with your values, which we'll talk about in a second. So these questions are crucial and critical for you to reflect on your current lifestyle and what you're doing, and then what we're going to be doing in the next 6 weeks coming up. Okay, so the next reflection is, what is your one new resolution that you've made? If you've already made one, just kind of reflect on that. You know, why did you make it? Why did you make that New Year's resolution? How do you think you or your life will be different when you accomplish this resolution goal? So these are really important questions to ask yourself, because then you're more likely to stick with it, because you'll have all your kind of pros and cons and all your reasons why. How important is this resolution for you? You can do this with, if you just made one goal or all of your goals, but what I really want you to do is focus on kind of the most important goal that you've made and just really delve into it. What value does this resolution meet? And then when we do the values work, then you can kind of cross-reference that. Very important. And then if you do make more than one resolution, just do each resolution separately to answer those questions. Okay, so the reason why we get into values is because values can really help shine a light on not only what's so important to you in your life, but also it can help you determine your life priorities and making sure that you're living your best life, and it can help influence any decision making that you have. So my number one value is kindness. I want people to be kind to me, and I really want to be kind to others. And so when I'm making a decision on any goal that I have, it comes back to that kindness. So it also helps me build strong, loving boundaries around that self-care. So, I'll say, is this current habit that I'm doing revolved around my value of kindness? And, is the eating cookies being kind to my body? No, it isn't. So I can really reflect on that and say, okay, it's that habit is not working for me. And then I can look into the future and say, okay, what is one goal I can do to be kind to myself? And that would be, if I don't bring a snack, or I don't plan a snack for mid-afternoon that's really healthy, then I can swap out those cookies for something else that's really healthy. And so those not only help yourself for that self-care, but can also help build those strong, loving boundaries for others too. So then if somebody's not kind to me, I will stand up for myself. So I will say, you know what, I'm done with this conversation right now, because it's not being, or the conversation is not very kind, and that's okay. And so it does help you in all areas of life. So building values is so very important. All right, so what are some values? Here's a values list, and this is not all exclusive. There are a lot more values, and I can send the values worksheet to everybody along with these questions. And so the ultimate goal is to pick out 5 of your top values, and then really whittle it down to your top value, and really reflect on that top value, and with some of these questions. So you don't have to worry about doing this right now, but it'll be your homework. So what I want you to do is reflect on, well, pick the 5 of those words, and then reflect on it. Reflect on all of those words, whittle it down to your top value, and then list what behaviors support these values. Like, what are you doing to really support, and why they're your values? Who supports you in these efforts? And then what do these values generate in your life? Because it's once we start reflecting on these and really working with these values, it's pretty amazing what they can do. And then your decisions to make your next goal, and how you attack your next goal is that much easier, because you're putting your values around it. So it's actually pretty cool work. All right. This is another way to kind of think about your values, and you don't need this worksheet, otherwise you can download it. It's on changeitchill.org. And so it's a value circle here. So the one with the actual pie markings in it. On there, you would write 6 things in your life that are most important to you right now. It can be anything. whatever's important to you. So it could be getting enough sleep, having dinner with your family. It could be a sport, volunteering. You want to write those in there and then flip the page over or make another circle. And then you want to literally write down what you do in your day. So if you spend half of your day at work, if you spend some time watching TV, if you exercise, whatever it is, you want to see if any of those values that you wrote or any of those things that are most important, if you are getting those into your regular day. And it's a great way to say, okay, one of my favorite things is listening to music, and I do not listen to music at all in my day. So then you can reflect on it and start being really creative to say, okay, how can I fit this most important thing in that really brings me joy into my day. So this is just another awareness tool that you can use. So homework. So what I want you to do is reflect on your current habits with those questions that we talked about. I want you to reflect on your New Year's resolutions, your goals that you've made, and then I want you to reflect on value work. So I will send out those questions again and the value work worksheet that you can use for this work, because this will really help us as we move forward into our New Year's resolution series. So that being said, are there any questions? No questions? So I am recording this, so if anyone wants to see it again, it should be ready in a couple of days. Otherwise, I will be sending you some homework and some information and the questions. Anybody want to share anything that they're struggling with or having a hard time with? No, everyone's doing pretty good.
Well, I can say that I really appreciate this, Stacy, because I think that, this whole last year has been a challenge for keeping healthy habits and resolutions. And so I think this is a good time to kind of regroup and refocus. And I appreciate those tips on how to do that. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, you're right. A lot of us had to change so much and really try to pivot what we wanted and needed. And sometimes that transition did take a long time to say, my gym closed down. So I guess that's it. I can't exercise. There's nothing I can do. And then sometimes we regrouped and said, okay, wait a minute, I can still, jump rope at home or lift some soup cans or whatever that was for you in any goal. It doesn't even have to be with exercise, but yeah, a lot of big changes, and the ultimate goal is to reflect on that and really figure out what works for you and what doesn't. That's a good point. Anything else? Just gonna check the chat here. Okay, yes, you are welcome. Well, feel free to email me with any questions and we can chat offline a little bit. And otherwise, thank you so much for joining me, and be looking for that email to come out with the resources to kind of start this process.
Thank you. See you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you. Otherwise, I will stay on the line for a little bit if anyone wants to talk offline.